Now you have to go back to your desktop to the platform that popped up, and you paste in your login information, choose Classic Demo, and if you were actually opening a live account you would choose Classic Live, but this is for a demo account, and you click Login. Okay, so I'm inside my demo account and I'm not sure how to make my window wider in order for you to see the entire platform. I'm trying to do that for the video and I can't do it. So I'm gonna have to just drag this down, but here at the bottom you have your mailbox is open saying welcome, but your trade account you have to click trade, and then to see your account history you have to click account history, and then there's a way to right mouse click right in here and you can choose custom period to see the history, today, last 3 days. This is how you see your history. So just to show you that, and in experts this is like telling you what's happening when you try to place a trade, and this is like a journal, tells you what trades you've placed and what happened. If there were any errors you would look in experts and journals if something went wrong with your trade, it didn't get placed or something. So this bottom window is called your terminal window, and if you open up this window you can drag it like this, and here you have your market watch. I have to drag this up so you can see it. This is your market watch, and I'm going to show you now a few things. Now that you've got your trading platform up, I have to show you a few tweaks to it to optimize it for trading. So the first thing you're going to do is in your market watch you're going to right mouse click and you're going to click show all. And the reason we do this is because right now it's not showing all the currency pairs that are actually available, and it doesn't show you some of the CFDs and gold and some of these things. Someday you might want to trade when you know what you're doing, but for now you just need to right mouse click and click show all. And then auto trading, this is the little guy with the blue hat. If you're using a trade manager then you have to click this to turn it on. But for manual trading, just as a beginner, you're not going to be using a trade manager, so this can stay off. And this is your toolbar up here, and there's a lot of different things in the toolbar. You can, this is your zoom in. If you click here and make this bar above the chart a little bit darker blue, that means you've selected that chart. And then you can click the zoom in. The candles, they zoom in or zoom out however you like. Most of the time you're going to trade just with default or maybe something like this. So this is the templates that they give you, the default templates, and you should check out each of these templates to see which one you like. This is ADX, which I think the ADX window is not going to be comprehensible to you as a beginner. And here's the Bollinger Band, which may or may not be comprehensible to you. You need to study Bollinger Bands. That's the indicator here with the red lines, and that's a whole study. Here's default. This is just what you get, and again you can open it up, zoom it out a little bit so the candles are not so tight. And then here's layers, which is pretty much too much for a beginner, I think. And here's momentum, which again, too many indicators, too many indicator windows for a beginner. Here's popular, and here's volume, and here's Williams. So of all of these, the easiest ones I think for a beginner would probably be this one. And however, it's just too much for me to go into to explain how each of these templates work. And there, if you go to Investopedia or a website like that, it'll explain to you what the Williams trading system is, because it uses Gator, AC, AO. Those are all indicators that if you come over here under your left, you can see Bill Williams. So here's all of the indicators that are in Bill Williams, this template, but it's too many indicators. It's just too difficult to follow. So I don't know what the best trading system would be for you. I don't like the ADX for a beginner, but I like just one simple. This is called a moving average. If you have your line over it, it says moving average 21. If you get rid of this ADX window in the bottom window, what we could do is I could show you how to add one more moving average to the top window. So if you right mouse click in this window down here, you can go delete indicator. So now it's gone. And now I'd like to add one moving average so that this is a real simple trading system for you. Okay, what I did was I chose envelopes. So I left mouse clicked on envelopes and dragged it to the chart and just left it simple here, and I clicked OK. So then it placed the blue and the red line, which gives you kind of a channel. This is the original moving average 21, but now we have a blue line that shows the channel. So this is like the high point, the high price, and this is like a low price. And right now you can see prices just hovering around the moving average middle line. Now if I wanted to add another moving average, I would select it, left mouse click it, and drag it over. And because we already have a 21-day moving average, I'm going to add in a 7-day moving average, and I'm going to make it red is okay. So, and then you can make these lines a little stronger. So hover your mouse over it and right mouse click and choose properties, and then you can make this line thicker. So do that. And then do the same for the 21-day moving average, because these tell you kind of what to do. And then I would add in a parabolic SAR, because I use in my Green Tomatoes for Newbies a parabolic SAR. It's quite different from this one, but at least it gets you the idea. So right mouse click on the dot, because you want to make those dots a little bigger, stronger, so you can really actually see them. And now what you have here is a very simple trading system that shows you the high prices right here and the low prices, and how the price is just going down, and now the price is kind of in the middle. And the SAR dots tell you, these are different than my SAR dots, but still, if the price is underneath the SAR dots, then that's a sell situation. If the price is above the SAR dots, that's a buy situation. And when the red line crosses the yellow line and you have a SAR dot above, that is a sell signal. So you can see this if we expand this chart. Do that so you can move it over so it stays. This is that big white sell candle. So the red line crossed the yellow line and you have a green dot, and that would have been a great sell signal. However, with a simple little setup like this, you have no idea when to get out. But this is a 15-minute chart by default, so at the end of this 15-minute candle, you see that this other candle is going in the opposite direction. Price is going in the opposite direction. Just get out, close your trade, because you've got a 15-minute very strong candle here. And that doesn't always happen. I'm not saying it always happens, but you can see that as price stays underneath this red moving average, these are all sell positions or sell trades that you could have initiated. So this is your first sell trade, then it pulled back, and this could have been another sell trade. So I'm going to show you how to draw a line. I'm going to show you how to draw a vertical line and drop it in there for every time you place a trade. So There's your sell trade. That's a red vertical line, and that could have been your first sell trade because that's when the red line crossed the yellow line and everything was underneath the green SAR. And then you would have gotten out at the bottom of this candle. So after 15 minutes, just exit when you see that the next candle is starting to go up. So you're losing pips, you're losing gain. But then, because price is all under the green SAR dots and price is still under the yellow moving average and under the red moving average, double click this and this would be your next sell entry. And I'll show you how to count the pips. You can go over here and this is your crosshair, so left mouse click it, and from the top of this candle to the bottom of this candle, in the middle window it says 129. Well, that's actually 12 pips. So that one candle was worth 12 pips. And now you have 3 candles going down, and if you had gotten in at the top of this candle when it looked like it was going down again, and you get out when you see this candle start to go up, that's 8 pips. Let me tell you that that's not very many pips. But look at the end of the day. This is 5 p.m. Eastern. This is the end of the trading day. And look at how small these candles have gotten, and everything is squished together. All the lines, everything is squished together and tight. That's showing you there's no momentum, no volatility, so there's no movement in price. It means that nobody's trading, because nobody trades usually, especially the euro US dollar, as time gets closer to 5 p.m. Eastern. Everything goes really flat because this is the end of this trading day and it's the beginning of the new trading day, and not a lot happens for several hours. I always try to be out of my manual trades before 5 p.m. Eastern because sometimes the spread can get really big. So there's a few other indicators I can put on this for you just to play with, to learn how to put indicators on your chart. I like Fibo extensions because it gives me price targets. So if you spread open your chart, right here you can see this is 5 p.m. Eastern. This last candle is where we are right now, and price action is bullish, meaning everybody's buying. The buying pressure is up. This is when the first buy action happened, when the red line crossed the yellow line, and so all of these candles are people buying, and these Fibonacci extensions can be your target. So one of these extensions can actually be your target, and if price reaches and then starts to stall a little bit, meaning you get a white candle, then you could close your trade and take your profit. So I like Fibonacci extensions. I'm just creating a easy little chart here for you to get started with, because you may or may not buy my Green Tomatoes for Newbies, but you need something to start trading with. I like quote and spread, so you can put that up, and it shows up in this top left corner, and it's kind of big. Let's see, the spread is 1.4 pips, so that's a pretty small spread. And the price is, you can't see it very well. Here, let me show you how to open this chart. Go to that middle window and you can blow it up like this. So now you can see that the price is of the euro US dollar is 1.1261, and there's the bid and the ask. The bid and the ask is the difference between what you buy the currency for and what you sell the currency for. So there's a whole study on bid and ask. It's pretty simple. Bid is equal to what you sell at, and ask is equal to what you buy at. There's a difference. You can see that the last two numbers of the red are 6-0 and the green is 6-1, and then there's a fraction of a pip because Forex now, the digits are 5 digits. It used to be 4 digits, but several years ago the broker started using 5 digits. So there's the spread, the difference between the bid and the ask is 1.4 pips. Right now that doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't really matter. Eventually it will, as you study more, because you really have to study this stuff, you'll understand what the bid and the ask is and how important this spread is, because you want the lowest spread possible. You want the smallest difference between the bid and the ask that you can get, and different brokers give you different spreads, and some of them give you really high spreads, and you have to eventually learn about that. And it's pretty average here for the euro US dollar to be 1.3. If you had an ECN account, it could be as low as 1 or even less than 1 pip for a spread. So the spread is how the brokers make their money. They make the money off the difference between the last two digits, between 61 and 62. So every time you place a trade, the broker's making 1.3 pips. That's his commission, that's his fee for providing you with the ability to trade on their trading platform and to deposit and withdraw money. So they have to charge a fee for all of this, and that's their fee, is the spread. So you want the brokers to make as little money as possible, so you want the spread to be small. So the greedy brokers, they have the bigger spreads. And although there's sometimes compensations for the bigger spreads, but as you get more familiar with Forex, there's a lot of little things that you'll learn that aren't important to go into right now. So that's just a basic overview of the trading system, but before you start trading, there's one other or two other tweaks that you need to do to optimize your trading platform. So what you do is you go up here to your, all of this is your toolbar area. I've showed you how to use the crosshairs, I've showed you how to use the vertical line, and these are the time frames. If you want to switch time frames, right now we're default 15-minute time frame. Click here and the chart turns into a 30-minute time frame. And right here is an automatic scroll. So you'll learn about how to automatic scroll. To look back in time, you have to uncheck this one, so when you scroll back it stays. That's important. You'll learn that. And you've seen the zoom in, and so this way, if you like a real close-up view of what's happening, which makes it a lot easier to trade, it looks like the red line here is kissing the yellow line. So, and the price is above the green SAR dot, so it's very possible that we might have a buy trade at some point when this candle needs to get a little bit bigger. You see how small the candles are after this 5 p.m. Eastern dash white line? There's not a lot of volume, there's not a lot of trading activity, there's not a lot of momentum. So I never trade until at least 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern. So maybe if we get a bigger candle here, we can see some increased volume, more people trading. Before we trade, we have to tweak our platform a little bit. So you go up to your toolbar, you click on Tools, click on Options, and you can change your password here if you need to. But the important things that I'm going to show you are expert advisors. So if you're using a Trade Manager EA, an expert advisor is an EA, and all trade managers are EAs, and you're going to have to allow the EA to trade on your chart for you. There's different kinds of EAs. There's automated robots, and that's not what we're talking about here, but there are also trade managers, and trade managers are always expert advisors. So you have to allow that by checking, and I always uncheck. All of the three boxes are unchecked, and I click Allow DLL Imports. It says potentially dangerous, enable only for trusted applications. Well, if you have a trade manager, that's a trusted application, and you have to allow DLL imports. So that's very important when you're using any EA, and you don't want the EA to become disabled when you change your account or change your profile or change your time frame, so you just don't want these 3 boxes checked. That's very important. And then trade, I would choose one-click trading. I clicked it and then this disclaimer popped up. I have to accept the terms, so click OK. Now I can do one-click trading instead of very clumsy normal, the way it always used to be. MT4 used to be terrible for placing trades. The one-click trading makes it a lot easier. And under objects, there's nothing really you need to change, but under charts, this is very important. I like to click to show the ask line, and I'll show you what the ask line is. That's the price that is showing this little white line right here, but we're going to make it a little stronger. I like to show period separators. That means I like to see every day, every 24 hours when 5 p.m. Eastern is. And the reason I like to see that is because I personally like to be out of my trades before 5 p.m. Eastern, because the spreads can really increase. And I don't like big spreads, and sometimes spreads can be so big that if you have a really tight stop loss, it can actually stop you out of your trade. So just better to be out of your trade before 5 p.m. Eastern. The way to see the 5 p.m. Eastern time is by clicking show period separator, so you'll get a dashed white line like this every 24 hours. Then you'll know when you're approaching 5 p.m. Eastern. You can save deleted charts to reopen. This doesn't really matter too much, but what's really important is this max bars and histories and max bars and charts. These are huge number of bars, and you just don't need that many bars because it consumes MT4 resources, it consumes your CPU resources. You need the minimum. All you need is the minimum. So just change this to 5,000. And then you'll never have trouble with the amount of resources that the trading platform uses. If it's using too many resources because you've got a lot of indicators on here and you've got an EA and a lot is going on, it's using a lot of resources, you just don't need this many max bars in the histories or that many max bars in the charts. You just don't need all of those. There's no reason for it, and there's no indicator or EA that I've ever used that needs more than 5,000, and it saves on the CPU resources. So if you don't do this and you load up your templates with a lot of indicators in an EA, and all of a sudden your MT4 becomes sluggish or non-responsive, or you can't change time frames, or you just can't do normal things, it's because of this. So you just do it now, get it over with, and it's done for the future. So now that's how you optimize your MetaTrader platform for trading. This gives you a simple little trading template, and I'll show you now how to save your template. I can't see any other indicator in here that you absolutely need that would, well, I like RSI. You can put RSI on your chart, relative strength index, but this gives you a 30 line and a 70 line, and I like a 50 line, so I'm going to right mouse click and go to levels and click add. And I'm going to put a 50 in there. Put a 5, click OK, and now you have an RSI kind of like what I have in my Green Tomatoes for Newbies, although mine's a colored line. So green is for buying pressure, tomato red is for selling pressure. All of my indicators are color coded, so they're very special. These are very basic indicators, but basically you can learn how to trade with this. So if the blue RSI line crosses above the 50 line and this candle becomes a little stronger, then you could possibly place a buy order. But right now you can see this RSI is very flat underneath the 50 RSI line, the 50 level, and that's showing there's no momentum at all. There's no trade activity going on at all. So it's definitely not a good time in the day to be trying to trade right after 5 p.m. Anytime around 5 p.m. for actually a couple hours before and after. So now what we want to do is practice putting on a trade, even though we have no volatility or momentum, I still want to show you how to place a trade and how to place your stop loss and how to adjust your stop loss and how to close a trade out. So those are just basic functions of the MetaTrader platform that I need to show you. Oh, one other thing. On the left side under Navigator, these are all your indicators. I already showed you some of them. And then you have oscillators, and there's just a lot of stuff. You should really play with all of these things, put them on a chart and see what it looks like. In the beginning it's going to be overwhelming and a lot of squiggly different colored lines which aren't going to mean anything to you, but you have to get used to this stuff. This is part of the education. So if you scroll down, then we have expert advisors, and these are no expert advisors that you want to use. In fact, I'm going to show you how to get rid of them. Don't ever use these. So to get rid of anything under expert advisors, or even any of these indicators if you want to get rid of them, or if you want to get rid of any of these templates, then you go to File, go to Open Data Folder, and here's where you can see your templates. So you can right mouse click and choose to delete any of these templates that you don't want. So you can click on MQL4 at this point and go to indicators, and here's all of your indicators. This is where you would add a new indicator if you ever wanted to, and if you want to delete an indicator, just right mouse click on it and click delete. So that's how you get rid of the indicators. And you can get rid of anything that you want. Here's the expert advisors folder. This is where your expert advisors are. You don't need any of these things, so just select all of them and delete them. So there you go, close that. So now what you do, close out all these windows. Now right mouse click back in here, click refresh. So now if we go into under expert advisors, all of those expert advisors are gone. If I try to open this window, there's nothing in there. So all of those expert advisors are gone until you install a new expert advisor or an MT4 trading platform like my Green Tomatoes for Newbies. Well, the advanced has an expert advisor trade manager, but not the basic. But this is where you'd find the trade managers under expert advisors. Now you're up and running. Oh, we wanted to place a trade. So let's close this a little bit. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. Actually, there's a zillion things I could show you. Let's go look at the odd, because that can move pretty good in the Asian session. So I just went over here under Market Watch. I left mouse clicked the odd to select it, and I dragged it over into my chart. And now you can see the odd is the template. Now to whip it back to the end, just do that again. That whips it back to the end. Now the odd might be getting ready. It trades pretty well in the Asian session. We're in the Asian session right now. So we want the RSI to get stronger and cross above the 50, and we want the red moving average to cross above the yellow, and we want this candle to be strong. And we have the SAR dot on the bottom, so all of this is looking like we've possibly got a trade set up. The Fibonacci extensions are down here because it's been in this big long downtrend, and these were the targets. However, at the end of the day, these are not great targets because there's really not a lot of price movement around 5 p.m. Eastern. So these targets are pretty not valid, but they'll switch. If we go into a buying pressure situation, the Fibonacci targets will be up here, and these will be your new buy targets. So let's pretend that the odd is ready for a buy, and right up here you can see in this little corner right here there's a little arrow, and if you drop it up and down you can make this little buy and sell window appear and disappear. So if we wanted to place a buy trade, however, actually, right now this is just not a great example. Let's change the chart euro yen, EURJPY. So I left mouse click it, highlight it, and drag it over, and that changes my chart. Now we're looking at the euro yen, and it's kind of the same situation. This is just a terrible time of the day to try to place a trade, but I just want to show you how to actually buy and sell. So let's just pretend, and let's put on because we're above the SAR dot, everything is mixed here, so there's no clear buy or sell signal, but let's just buy anyway. So first of all, you have to select your lot size, and right here you can see it says 1.00, so you don't want to be selling at 1.0 because that's one standard lot. That's way too big for your trading system. So if you click the little down arrow, it reduces the trade size, and it's going down. But for a $1,000 account, the maximum for one trade would be 0.05. So you can hold that down, or you can just highlight it and type in 0.05. That's the quick and easy way to do it. So now if we click buy or sell, we're going to be placing a trade with 0.05. So let's just click buy, and you can see, I had to move you can see down here now that it placed the 0.05 euro yen. Here's my profit, and if I drag this over, my balance is 1,000. It's using $28.15 of margin, and I have available $970.80 some cents as free margin. So that tells you the cost of the trade. This trade cost me $28.15 for a 0.05 on a $1,000 account using 200 to 1 leverage. So that trade is not costing me very much, but that is my risk at this point. However, I can lose more money than even the cost of my margin if I let this trade go in the wrong direction. Now we have to place our initial stop. You can see right here the type of order is buy, the size, the symbol, the price that we bought it at. This is our stop loss, which we don't have one. This is our take profit, we don't have one. This is the current price right here, and if you look, this is our profit or loss right here. I don't expect this to go into a great deal of profit, but it could actually go into a loss because it's so mixed. But we need to place our initial stop loss and take profit. So the way you do that is left mouse click to highlight this area, and then right mouse click, and then click modify or delete, and then we're going to modify the order. So we already have an order in place, so we're going to modify it. Now here's your stop loss, and if we click it, that's what it's going to place the stop loss at. So 121.48. Well, we purchased at 121.48, so that kind of stop loss is terrible. But if we want to make the stop loss say 20 pips, we would click 20 points, but because it's in points and not pips, we have to add an extra 0. So it gets complicated. So copy as. So now 1.21.27 is 20 pips below the price that we bought it at. So that's okay. Now I like to place a take profit at a reward of double of what my risk is. So right now my risk is 20 pips. 200 points is 20 pips, and I want my reward to be double that. So I want my reward to be 400. This is my take profit, so I want to type in 400. So I have what's called a risk to reward ratio now of 2 to 1. So that means my reward is double of my risk. My risk is my stop loss. My reward is my take profit. So now I click that, and now it's got my take profit price right here. So 121.87 is 40 pips above what I purchased at. So 121.87 would make my take profit way up here. So that's very aggressive for the Asian session. I see that the Fibonacci swing level, you can't see it because, well, let's right mouse click. Right mouse click, click indicators list. We want to fix that Fibonacci level because the dark green is too hard to see. So I'm going to click Fibbo extensions, I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to click colors. Well, first let's click input because it already gives a color. Let's make this a bright yellow. We're going to make our Fibonacci extensions bright yellow. So click OK and click close, and now our Fibonacci extensions, we can see them. This first swing would make a very reasonable target for the Asian session. So the swing is 121.65. So I'm going to change this. You can lower this 12165. That's close enough. So now that's a reasonable target, and our stop loss is 20 pips below, which is 121.274. So our stop loss would be way down here. That's a pretty wide stop loss. I would prefer to have my stop loss right around this swing. That's pretty tight, so I would put it maybe at this second Fibonacci level, which happens to be around this envelope price, this lower envelope. This red line would be a fine place for our stop loss. That's more reasonable for the Asian session, so it's right around this Fibonacci level of 121.354. So let's raise our stop loss to 121.354, is right around this Fibonacci level. So that's a tighter stop loss, and our reward is still, well, actually our reward is almost triple because this is what we want. So it's got our stop loss. If we just click that, I think that it'll do it. Our stop is 121.354. So right here you can see it's a dashed line. It's kind of hiding behind the yellow line, darn. But over here you can see it's stop loss, and if you can modify this stop loss. So if it hits our stop loss, my mouse is hovering right over this dashed red line. This is a stop loss line. It says that if it hits my stop loss, I'm going to lose $6.21, negative 13 pips. So say I want to tighten that stop just a tiny bit. I don't want to risk that much. I can drag it up, and it tells me now I'm risking 12 pips or $5.84. If I keep dragging it, now I'm risking there $5 or 10 pips. So now we've manually adjusted our stop, and our take profit line is way up here right at the swing, which is okay. So we've got a tight 10 pip stop, and we've got, you can see it right down here, 121.38 is 10 pips underneath. We're risking 10 pips, and our take profit is, it's almost double, so that's okay. It's close to double. So that's how you have to adjust. So it's a little bit difficult. It takes several steps to buy or sell, and then to adjust your stop loss and take profit. It's okay if the market's slow and you have time, but this is really terrible, very cumbersome, very difficult to do it when it's a fast market and you're in a hurry. So that's why we use trade managers, because with one click the input settings already have our stop loss and take profit ratio adjusted at 2 to 1, so that's done for us. When we use our trade manager, my trade button that I have, with one click you buy or sell, and it also places your stop loss and take profit at a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 2, so that's perfect. And then it manages your trade. It actually manages your trade for you. So it will trail for you, and it will adjust the trail as the price moves in your desired direction. and it can book half of your lot size at a certain point and move your stop to break even and keep trailing after that. So I highly recommend using a trade manager, and I love my trade button. I created it because it's just one click. You already have the settings that you can choose. You can choose scalp or day trade or swing trade settings. And in the Asian session, basically we usually can only scalp, so there's not a lot of reward. Moves are just not big enough, and there's no momentum in the Asian session usually until later, a little bit later. Right now it's just too close to 5 p.m. But now we have our stop loss in place, we have our take profit in place. It's a very tight stop loss, and maybe in reality I wouldn't want it so tight, so I can, if I think I want to change it, I can just left mouse click it and drag it down. I'm dragging it back down to where it was at this Fibonacci extension level. So we've given our trade a little bit more breathing room. However, now I think I want to have it trail. So if it starts going in our desired direction, I really want it to trail. So we have this blue bar selected. So if you right mouse click, you can choose trailing stop and go all the way down to the bottom to, well, you can start with 50 points, but that's really only 5 pips. If you want it to trail by 5 pips, that's okay. That's a very tight scalp setting, and that's okay for the Asian session. But say we're in the London session where trades can move 50 or 100 pips in a matter of very little time. Say that you want it to trail by 20 pips instead of 5 pips. Well, right here, this custom level is, it says 15 points. That's not even 15 pips, so you have to add an extra 0. That makes it trail by 15 pips. You have to always remember when you see points, you have to always add an extra 0. So this is all manual. So now this will trail by 15 pips, and that would be okay in the London session, or you can even make it trail by 25 pips in the London session. But we're in the Asian session where if you measure what your reward is, that's only like, let me show you how to use the crosshairs. We can come back to this. Get used to using your crosshairs. So we got in right here, and our reward is, see the middle window, it says 170. That's actually 17 pips. Okay, it's 170 points, but it's really 17 pips. So that's not great. So half of that, you would want it to start trailing right around 8 pips in profit. So I think that for now, if we leave it trailing pip, leave it at 50 points, which is a 5 pip trail. As it moves in our desired direction, it'll move our stop loss. It'll move it, keep it 5 pips behind the current price. So once it moves to break even, it will start to trail, and it'll trail 5 pips behind the current price. That way, if it retraces, the trade goes backwards on us and goes against us, it'll stop us out and will at least be at break even, if not a couple of pips in profit. So a trailing stop is important. You can get stopped out. There's pros and cons to it. The pros is that it can make your trade set and forget, meaning you can put this in place and then go do something else. Personally, I always stay with my trade until I'm at break even or a little better, and then I can go do something else. So I like to stay with the trade, meaning that if I know I'm going to bed in a couple of hours and I have a couple hours to babysit this trade, then I'm going to stay with it until the price is moved to break even or a little better, and then I'll go to bed knowing that whatever happens during my sleep, that I'm not going to lose any money. I'm not going to lose any pips, and this is my target, and this is set to trail 5 pips behind the price once it moves into profit. It'll start moving the trail once it moves 5 pips beyond the open price. So that is how you set up your MetaTrader 4. That's how you create a little simple default trading system for yourself. That's how you place a trade. That's how you place your stop loss and take profit and adjust them. That's how you place your trailing stop. And all of this is just manual. You need to learn how to do all of this stuff manually before you go and buy my trading system, anybody else's trading system, a trade manager. All of that stuff can come later after you have explored the MetaTrader 4 platform, learned how to use the toolbar up here, and learned all about the market watch, learned about the navigator and all of the indicators that you have. And you can build charts for yourself and just play around and see what some of these indicators look like on a chart. It's quite fascinating, and you'll enjoy yourself. And when you get tired of manually placing your trade, and you get tired of manually placing your stop loss and take profit and trailing stop, at that point you're ready to buy a trading system like my Green Tomatoes for Newbies, which has all color-coded indicators that are just custom indicators that make trading so simple. And at a glance you'll know what to do, because right now I can see at a glance what to do, but you probably can't, because to you this is just a bunch of colored spaghetti on your chart. And that's the problem, is the brain can't make sense of this. It takes time for the brain to learn how to make sense of all of this stuff. At some point you will, but at that point you're going to be ready for something easier that makes it easier for your brain to process what it's seen. And that's why my color-coded indicators are so important, because it takes very little for the brain to process what it's seen and to understand what it's seen and to make trading decisions very quickly without hesitation. And actually at a glance you'll know exactly what to do, and it's a great relief. The trading like this is stressful. Placing your trades, adjusting your stop loss and take profit, it's time consuming and stressful. And you'll understand what I mean when you're in a fast market and you're really anxious to get your stop loss and take profit placed and your trailing stop in place, because you want your trade to perform, but it's all manual and it's really a drag. It's really not that much fun. That's why people love my color-coded trading systems, and especially my advanced system that has my trade button in it, because the trade button will do all of this for you just with one click. It's so fast. If you're in a fast market and you need to get in a trade and have your stop loss and take profit placed and your trailing stop in place, all of the trade management's ready to go at one click. That's what my trade button does, and it makes trading so easy and actually fun. And that's what it needs to be about, because you won't continue to do something if it's a drag, if it's difficult, or you make mistakes because you're fumbling trying to do this, and you have a fast market and you don't want to make a mistake and you're afraid. All of that's very stressful. So with my Green Tomatoes for Newbies basic system for beginners, at least you get the template that's color coded and really easy to see at a glance exactly you're going to know what to do. So that removes a lot of stress. And then later you can buy my advanced trading system that has my trade button in it, which is a one-click trade placement. And at the same time, I have set files that you can choose for scalping, day trading, or swing trading. And once you choose one of those, it's just one click, and you can use the same set file over and over and over again if you're trading the same kind of style and in the same time frame. And not a lot changes, because really you're just looking for setups. You're looking for trade opportunities, trade setups, and then you click the button, buy or sell. The trade's placed, the stop loss and take profit is placed, the trailing stop is in place, and it's a set and forget system, and it's one click and you can walk away. So that is called stress-free trading, and that's what I specialize in. That's what I'm leading you up to. So all of this is to lead you up to that, to purchase first the basic Green Tomatoes for Newbies, and then to purchase the advanced Green Tomatoes for Newbies, which has my trade button in it, which is going to turn trading into an absolute delight and stress-free and easy, and walk away or go to bed type of trade. Set and forget, we call that. Hands free, set and forget. That's the goal. That's what we're working towards. That's what I'm trying to move you towards. So right now our little trade looks like it's moving. It's in profit a little bit. Oh, by the way, if you think you want to close this trade, just see that little X to the right of the price. Just click X and the trade is closed. You're out of the trade. So now we've booked 37 cents. Our account has grown by 37 cents. Okay, traders, so this is your lucky day to have this kind of training, because when I first got started with trading Forex in 2002, there were no trading systems, there were no training videos, there was no YouTube, there was absolutely nothing to teach me how to trade, and I had to learn all of this stuff. And there wasn't even that much information on the net. The net was new. So today, learning how to trade is easy. You have me and my PDF and all of my training videos, and I make it as easy as possible for you. All you need to do is put in the screen time. So you need to study and learn and practice, and it's the practicing that's really going to make a difference for you. And I want you to learn how to set these vertical lines, red for sell, green for buy. We forgot to do that. Right here was our green buy trade, and it's red for sell. So right mouse click on it, choose vertical line properties, and choose it to green. And I like lime green. It shows up. If you want to make the line a little stronger, just choose a thicker line, click OK. And now you have a green line that you should put on your chart, either a green buy line or a red sell line, every time you place a trade, because this can act like your journal. You can go back in time. Tomorrow you can go back in time and you can look at where you place this trade. You can analyze the indicators. You can say, oh look, the 50 RSI, that was okay, candle was okay, everything was okay on this candle when I decided to buy, so I did good. Or if you did bad, meaning you didn't analyze your charts correctly and you made the wrong buy or sell decision, and the conditions were not perfect, you broke the rules, then you can learn from that. So you have to really learn from your trades. You have to learn from your mistakes and learn what you do wrong, learn what you do right, and not repeat the mistakes. Learn from your mistakes, and that will help you become a better trader. And the simple act of dropping in a vertical red or green line when you buy or sell helps you go back in time tomorrow when you check to see how your trade did, and you can see, oh, I shouldn't have placed a trade there. The conditions were not right, but I did it anyway. Well, I shouldn't have done that, so I'm not going to do that again. So you learn and you become a better trader by doing that. You have to keep a journal. You can keep a written journal. Everywhere that you read about Forex trading, it tells you keep a written journal of each trade. What you saw in the chart, why you chose to trade, later what mistakes you made, or how you did it right, you were analyzing correctly, or whatever it was that made you decide to place a trade. You should write it down in a journal. But I also, for me, I like to place the red and green vertical lines. That's my journal. So I'm lazy. But don't be lazy, but I can be lazy because I've been doing this for so many years. But you're a beginner, you're a newbie. You cannot be lazy. You have to journal each trade. You have to write it in a journal. Write it by hand in a journal. Analyze each trade. Plus put your green and red line in. So that's my advice to you, because every professional always started out by journaling. That's how they learned. A lot of professionals still continue to journal, but I'm lazy, I don't. But most professionals will continue to journal, so it has to become a habit. You have to develop good habits, good trading habits, good journaling habits. Trading is all about developing good habits. So that's my advice, and this is a long video, so I'm going to stop. And if there's anything that I missed that I didn't talk about, you should send me an email. I respond to each and every single email. I'm happy to answer questions. I do appreciate screenshots, so it makes it easy for me to understand what your question is all about. It helps me understand and answer you quicker, because I don't like to stretch my brain too much trying to figure out what your question is. So if you can send me a screenshot, and I really appreciate Jing screenshots, send me a Jing URL, learn how to do it. I've got it in the PDF. And learn how to send me Jing screenshots, because those make it so much easier for me. Takes way less of my time and makes it much easier. I don't have to rack my brain trying to figure out what you're asking about, because if I can see what you're seeing, I can answer you really quickly and really easily. So I appreciate that. So thanks again for watching, for taking the time, and I hope you learned a lot, and I wish you all the luck in your trading. And just reach out if you have questions or you need help. I'm always happy to help. Thanks a lot. Happy trading.